Hey folks, it's Ray from DCRainmaker.com here. Today I've got 3 different indoor trainers. I'm going to do a bit of a sound test between them to kind of compare how loud they sound. On the left-hand side here, or your right-hand side, I've got the new CycleOps hammer. In the middle, I've got the Elite Drivo. And then on this side here, I've got the new KICKR 2, the Wahoo KICKR 2016 edition. And so this one, all 3 of these trainers just came out in the last few months here. Now you've seen some of my previous audio testing videos, in particular with the KICKR 2 and the Tax Neo and the Tax Flux. You can hit that up there. So I'm going to do a brief, like 30-45 second overview of audio testing and audio just general stuff, and then we'll dive right into it. So the first thing is that I do these tests kind of all at once, as opposed to doing one individual unit by itself and another one another month later and so on, and measuring them in decibels. And a lot of that's because environments will change. So I can make this video sound quieter or louder simply by what the microphone settings are on the camera, by the type of microphone I'm using, by the stuff that's around me. For example, this wall reflects pretty well. This is all underground. I'm in a completely windowless environment. It's a cave. It's got this rounded top here that also reflects. So your environment will differ than my environment, and so I'm just kind of giving you 3 trainers all at once that you can kind of hear what they all sound like, side by side, no audio tricks, nothing like that. Speaking which, in a moment I'm going to switch from this lav mic here that you're listening to right now to the on-camera mic. That'll make it sound all on that camera. If I use a lav mic for doing this testing here, you quite frankly wouldn't hear the trainers. So this way allows me to go ahead and kind of get a bit of an unbiased opinion. The camera is about 2 meters away, about 6 or so feet away, just using the on-camera mic, which I found is sort of the best microphone to use for picking up trainers in a perfected audio environment. So with that, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and start each one. I'm gonna start here on the hammer. I'm gonna do basically 200 watts, about 20 miles per hour. So I figure that's kind of a safe value. Now keep in mind, with trainers, it's all about speed. Speed is what determines your volume. Has nothing to do with watts. I can do 1,000 watts on this, and I can do 100 watts on this. They will sound precisely the same if I'm at the same speed. So you can always decrease your speed and thus decrease your volume. And the opposite of that is true as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to keep these all basically 20 miles per hour, which I've geared up to be all about 200 watts, and that's basically it. Now, the loudest things that you will hear in this entire video are me walking around and clipping in. So just kind of note that. Now, I've also got this light down there. That stoplight gives you basically 3 gradients. Green is quiet, and then when I stop talking, you'll see it go to green. Yellow is sort of middle of the road. I consider the norm for trainers that are, good, or sort of below that line, or like really good. And if it goes into yellow, then it's just considered good. And then above that line is sort of bad. You can see a video on that whole thing and how that all works somewhere there. The reason I don't use a decibel meter anymore, this is a decibel meter behind the scenes, but I kind of like to color code it, is that decibel meters are so easily tricked by configuration and setup and environment that it's virtually impossible to compare them unless I had a dedicated location purely for testing trainers that I could use the same settings every single time. My environment isn't that way, and my guess is that your living room isn't that way either. With that, let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and spin up, and I'll let you listen to about 10-15 seconds of each one. So here we go. First up, the CycleOps hammer. Switching over to the mic now. So again, I'm at basically 20 miles per hour, 30 kilometers an hour, and roughly 200-ish or so watts. Okay, so let that speed down. We'll go and click over to the Elite Drivo. One thing to note as well is that I've cleaned all these drivetrains and all these bikes, and quite frankly, your drivetrain is probably going to make the most sound on a lot of these newer trainers. So I've done what I would consider a good home job. I am not a bike mechanic. I'm sure if a bike mechanic came here, they'd make it sound even quieter, but I think that's kind of norm for most people in how they clean their bikes. Next up, we've got the Elite Drivo. Let's begin. Here I am, 20 miles an hour. There you go. And last but not least, the Wahoo KICKR 2. Now this isn't my bike, which is why it looks so short on it. It's the girl's bike, my wife's bike, but I'm out of bikes at this point. That bike back there has no crankset on right now, so this is what you got. There I am, 20 miles an hour. Next, we're going to do a bit of a rapid fire between the three trainers. We'll just go iterate through them one after another really quickly so you can kind of hear the slight differences in tone between them. Here we go with the Wahoo KICKR 2. Okay, next we have the Elite Drivo. Next we have the CycleOps hammer. Okay, so that's just a quick look at the audio across all three units. You can hit up my previous video to kind of compare against other trainers. You know, listening to all three of them, I would say that the quietest is, at least in my opinion, the Elite Drivo. It's got just a little bit of lower tone to it, so it's not quite as whiny. It's got like a good radio voice, if you will. Then I would say the CycleOps hammer, and then last but not least the Wahoo KICKR 2, but I would say these two are incredibly close. Like, it's almost a tie, and it may just be positioning in the room that makes the difference. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button down below, as well as the subscribe button, so you get more sports technology goodness over the next forever. Thanks.